there, welcome to Viewing Africa. I am Dr. Spello. Tonight, we're taking a look at smart farming in a mountain kingdom in Lesotho. Lesotho is a country that has always prided itself on production of wool and mohair until a deadly drought started spreading around 2011 and pinnacled in 2015, increasing the proportion of people living below poverty line. In this story, Sekeleme and his farming colleagues established a grazing association on the recommendation of Lesotho's Highlands Development Authorities, and it seems to be working. Let's take a look at it. Ramoroa Sikeleme, a farmer in the Tsana Talana rangelands of southwestern Lesotho, has deepened on wool and mohair income for a living for 2 decades. However, in 2011, climate change became a reality for him. Research shows it is a climate crisis that requires immediate attention.
Tataisi ba magakwamedi ya dihlaba tsa Lesotho mo re ntseng re qala go ntlafatsa teng le peo e ba peo e behang ka nako e nepahetseng.
Sekeleme and his farming colleagues established the Tsoararang Kamotsho Makahale Grazing Association on the recommendation of the Lesotho Highlands Development Authority.
As we used to, but more importantly, to improve the quality and the quantity, as we're seeing. When we look at production of either wool and mohair, we look at both the individual farmer, but we also want to look at the country as a whole. Yes.
Sekeleme, who is the group chair, says the association has helped smallholders like him preserve the rangelands since its establishment in 2019. The association has also benefited from a partnership with Lesotho's Wool and Mohair Promotion Project.
So what we are trying to do as a project is to ensure that that individual farmer increases productivity.
The project has also built capacity for the country's weather forecasting department, purchasing ultra-modern forecasting equipment to ensure farmers get accurate information on weather patterns for adequate planning. Before the project, much of the rangelands were strained, making unpalatable species overgrow.
But to also now specifically give them skills of when they plan, they should plan bearing in mind what the weather forecast is saying.
Sekeleme and his farming colleagues acknowledge that they generated higher incomes and more sustainable livelihoods. Now we're still talking farming. According to Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, wheat and barley are the two most important cereal crops in Tunisia. In 2018, the total production of wheat in Tunisia was estimated at 2.3 million metric tons, while the total production of barley was estimated at 0.3 metric tons. Production of both crops has been increasing over the past few years. Researchers attribute this increase to returning of farmers to indigenous seeds. Let's take a look at that. Hassan Chotai, a Tunisian farmer and indigenous seed researcher in Monagoya, is someone who has seen firsthand the disasters brought about by the introduction of modern wheat and barley seeds across the nation. Chotai, who started farming at age 12 on his farmers' and grandparents' farms, saw farmers in his region lose their produce when imported exotic seeds that failed to provide adequate yields when local environmental conditions changed.
الوزارة التونسية عندها فكرة ومتعلمة وتعرف المناخ التونسي كما يجب تعريفه بقطع النظر على أن البذور المستوردة ليس لها علاقة بالأوطان متاعنا وبالتالي طبعا تتأثر برشا بالمناخ وتتأثر برشا بالطبيعة.
With the help of the National Gene Bank of Tunisia, Ramzi Chabain, The Director General says farmers now have access to indigenous seeds that are resistant to biotic stress that affected normal growth, a challenge common in exotic seed species.
La résistance au stress biotique, c'est-à-dire les maladies et ennemis des cultures, la tolérance au stress abiotique, c'est-à-dire les stress abiotiques, la haute température, l'hydromorphie, la sécheresse et ainsi de suite, qui ne cessent d'accentuer avec les changements climatiques. Donc les ressources génétiques autochtones, normalement, elles contiennent des gènes d'adaptation au milieu.
In this case, the indigenous seeds have become a form of gold to the economy, offering to boost not only the coffers but also the health of the nation.
Sont adaptées au changement climatique, elles sont adaptées aussi aux conditions édaphiques au sol dans les régions marginales, elles sont adaptées aux problèmes des changements climatiques, la haute température, l'hydromorphie, la sécheresse et ainsi de suite. Elles contiennent des gènes de résistance aux maladies. Je ne dis pas qu'une seule variété autochtone contient tout ça, mais chaque variété autochtone a son background génétique, a son patrimoine génétique qui permet de trouver, dans ces ressources, on peut identifier des gènes de résistance qui sont utiles aujourd'hui et qui restent.
Beyond using native seeds, Chotoy advocates for climate-smart approaches to counter the effects of climate change.
عنده
Now, in this next clip, Wadi Akani is one of the golden generations of Nigerian footballing legends who burst on the world scene in the 1980s. There are so many opportunities in the country, he says, and there is a need to leave a good legacy. That's what he says drives him right now. It's all about legacies. Happy viewing.
There's so many opportunities in this country. We need to leave a good legacy, and that's the drive for me now. What do you leave behind for people coming behind you? We must leave a good legacy. We must be able to teach the kids, teach the young ones how to transit from being a good footballer, mixing up with education, becoming a better person in life, and also you have to also leave something back. If not, one day you leave and everything you've learned will just disappear. The sky is too big. We cannot all depend on national team, and say, hey, and that's the issue we have. And I hope this set of technical directors they have now will change that. We don't have to wait for when there's an under 17 tournament. That's when you start selecting under 17 players. We should have 13, 15, 17. So my point is, with grassroots organizations, grassroots support, private sector, it's very important because that's how we develop. That's how we grow up when we're coming up there. People come to you and say, because you're into football, oh, I've seen this guy, I've seen that guy. So it's part of management as well, sports management, that we can recommend. But I'm not officially an agent, but we do recommendations and say, hey, this guy I think is okay, that guy here. And of course, bringing experts together, running events when it comes to grassroots. And that's the key, because without grassroots, honestly speaking, I will not be who I am today. I'll be honest with you, if I was to come back again, is that what you asked me? Do I want to be a Nigerian? Of course, yes, I want to be a Nigerian. Do I want to do the same thing I did? Of course, I want to do the same thing. Do I want to do it better? Yeah. Yes.
Get your cowboy hats and boots ready for this story. country music singers from the kingdom of Eswatini, Gazi and Linda, famously called Dusty and Stones, boast of being the only African band to participate in the Texas Sound International Country Music Award. But beyond that, they share how they tell African stories in their music.
Howdy Africa, this is Dustin Stones, all the way from the Kingdom of Eswatini. We are country singers, we play guitar, we write our own songs. Yeah, along the way we've had a lot of things to celebrate. We've had achievements. We're part of the Texas Sounds International Country Music Awards. And we're the first Africans to do that. And we brought home the Best Duo of the Year award.
For this duo, country music connects singers and their world.
It's all about that. So you hear people singing about their parents, their sisters, their loved ones. It could be your wife, it could be your girlfriend, but it's all about family.
The stories that are being told in country music, we relate to them because of the place that we grew up from. They are talking about farms, they are talking about singing about old trucks, mountains, and all the country life. So we relate to that.
Well, we also have stories to tell. I cannot be just singing their songs every time, but I can use that musical platform to tell my own African story. And for me, I think that's the unique thing about us singing country music. We're using an American platform to tell an African story.
This 22-year-olds believe that African stories can be told through country music, and they are doing it, connecting the world to African stories through their rich country music.
That the world gets to hear our story, not just to hear, but to see, because this is just self-taught stuff. But to us, it means that whatever we're doing is right. To have some great players in the US, in Nashville, play in our songs and sort of approve or put the stamp of approval in what we are doing, for us, that means, okay, whatever we are doing is actually, we are on the right track, if I may put it that way.
Telling African stories in their unique way. That's how much we can take on viewing Africa right now. Special thanks to Bird Africa Story Agency for this week's visual. Until I come your way next time, it's goodbye for now.